it's funny, like at the time when you see trailers for Music of the Heart and everything, it's like directed by Wes Craven. And you're like, what?
What?
Welcome to SinCast, presented by Cinemasins.
All right, everybody, welcome to the SinCast. This is Chris Atkinson from Cinemasins, joined as always by the voice of Cinemasins, Jeremy Scott.
Whoopsh.
Yeah, we're bringing out the
whip.
whips today, folks. And from Music Video Sins, Barrett Share.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
wrestler voice.
We were trying to think of a topic, and Jeremy came to us and said, guys, I've got the best idea. He said, what about these weird, just sticks out like a sore thumb type movies on people's filmographies?
You are so odd.
One of these things is not like the others.
You stick out like a sore thumb around here.
Mm-hmm.
Let's discuss that.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about those things. And I'm like, yeah. We were like, yeah, let's do this because there are so many.
It's very sacrificing of me, I have to say, because originally this was an idea I had for a podcast. And then I realized I don't even have time for all the shit I'm currently doing, let alone a brand new podcast. This would make an excellent segment. We could recur on the SinCast. And it's kind of a born out of that. You remember that old Sesame Street song, One of These Things is Not Like the Other?
Mm-hmm.
That's sort of what I was looking for. And the sore thumb is a better catchier name. Sticks out like a sore thumb. That's a segment name. But yes, directors, actors, looking over their career, many of them have a type, even if there is variation within that type. And then many of them also have a movie that you're like, what the fuck is this guy doing in this movie? This is not like him at all.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we're going for here.
Yeah. So, I mean, almost everybody, if you look at them, has something kind of like this.
Well, and we're also talking about good examples and bad examples, right? Like
Sure.
A good actor that has a completely, turn of out of character moment that didn't work, and also considered less than stellar directors or actors that had momentarily like a brilliant moment, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think it works both ways. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Like, and I guarantee you that if we went through the more well-known screenwriters, this would be a field day. Like if we actually did screenwriters at some point.
Oh, I bet.
Because the first person that came to mind, and I don't have him listed today, but Akiva Goldsman was the one that came to my mind, because there was this string of in the 90s where he just kept coming out with, this is not good, this is not good, this is not good, A Beautiful Mind, this is not good. What? Wait a minute. Oh, what happened?
Did he write on Apollo 13? Because he's the Ron Howard guy, right?
Yeah, I mean, for a while there, I mean, he's been. Let me just look him up real quick. He has so he did The Client, Silent Fall, Batman Forever, A Time to Kill. He was the Schumacher guy for a while. Batman and Robin, Lost in Space, Practical Magic, and then A Beautiful Mind shows up. I mean, A Time to Kill is okay. But like, there's this string of like nothing, A Beautiful Mind, and then he's got iRobot in there, and then Cinderella Man, and now he does become the Howard guy here, Da Vinci Code.
Yeah,
he becomes a Will Smith guy in a way because he does I Am Legend. I mean, there was just a period of time. His first TV series was Fringe.
Ooh, I like that show a lot.
And now he's been doing a bunch of like Star Treks, like Star Trek Discovery, Star Trek Picard, Star Trek Strange New Worlds, which is something coming out. So yeah, Akiva Goldsman was one of those guys that we have inadvertently made the first person we've done on this exercise. But what did you guys come up with?
Well, the first one, and we've mentioned this before, but the first one that I wrote down was Sam Raimi.
Oh, yeah.
And you look over, now that Sam Raimi, you look at his IMDb, has a bunch of shit you've never heard of, from like 72 to 79. But he does the Evil Dead once we get to 81, and he does Evil Dead 2, Darkman, Army of Darkness, Quick and the Dead, A Simple Plan, For Love of the Game.
Yeah.
The Kevin Costner no-hitter movie with Kelly Preston and flashbacks. What the fuck? And then after that, he does Spider-Man 3 movies, Drag Me to Hell, Oz and the Great and Powerful. And I'm just like, what? That is the sore thumb. Not necessarily saying it's a bad movie. It is, in my opinion. But the sore thumb in these cases doesn't have to be bad. It just has to be the one thing that is not like the others. And Raimi is known for fantastical, often scary, dark stories, wild visuals, and a baseball movie is just an odd choice. And I would love to know the story of how that all came together.
Well, I actually may know the story to this one.
Oh, sweet.
I'm not absolutely certain. But there are a lot of times where these directors agree to take a project to get a bigger project. And if you look at this chronology here, For Love of the Game comes just before Spider-Man. And it is the exact same studio, too. I believe Sony did For Love of the Game. And the same thing happened with Christopher Nolan and Insomnia before he did Batman Begins. Even though if you went through his filmography, you wouldn't necessarily pick out Insomnia, I guess, maybe you would, I don't know, as a sore thumb for Christopher Nolan. But yeah, I think that's why Sam Raimi did that movie, was because Sony wanted to make sure that he could play ball in the studio system. And they said, here's this movie. We don't know what to do with it. Just do whatever. Just follow our lead, and then you'll get Spider-Man. And I think that's how that probably went.
I could buy that. I could buy that for sure.
What's the deal with that movie? I haven't seen it before. What is it, like The Rookie? Like what?
No, it's all okay. So he's an old dude pitcher of having a no-hitter, like on his last start ever, something along those lines.
He's been in the league. It's not like he's been exiled and came back or anything like that.
No, he's a veteran, but he's remembering all this Kelly Preston stuff, and that's what's driving him to keep going, I guess.
Oh, as he's throwing the no-hitter, he's thinking about boning Kelly Preston.
Well, there's more than boning, but yes, there's a flashback movie that has as much rom-com drama as it does baseball action. I've seen it twice, once when it was in the theater and once a few years later, and my only real remembrance is John C. Reilly is in it, I think.
Nice.
So
yeah. Well,
I say boning because when Chris and I were watching The Fugitive recently, like when Richard Kimball is running from Gerard in the woods and he's like covering himself with leaves and everything to stay warm, he flashes back to his wife, but they're having sex. Like that's the only time that he's remembering. It's not like, oh, she got me like a
coffee
back massager or something.
Yeah, right.
They're talking.
Yeah, For Love of the Game, like there's scenes where he's pitching against a former teammate, and the teammate is like that. This is the thing that makes this movie so like weird to watch is like the sort of the interplay between characters while a game is going on and everything. Like he'll throw this fastball. It's apparently the hardest fastball he's thrown in years. Kevin Costner, and like his former teammate, like, does this sort of rare back type of thing, and then there's like this look at Kevin Costner like, where'd that come from, and everything, and that stuff that does happen in baseball games, but it's usually really subtle, and in this it's like a whole dramatic like the whole like stare down type of thing. But yeah, that movie is very, very strange, but that's the only explanation I can come up with for him having done that movie, is that they were going to give him Spider-Man if he did all right with it. And I guess they were fine with whatever he came out with. It wasn't a big hit, but like maybe it was just the fact that they knew he was a talent and they said, hey, if you follow our directions, and they did everything they told him. And he's like, okay. now you get Spider-Man.
We won't fuck with you on Spider-Man until the third movie.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and we'll fuck you hard.
Yeah. Yep.
Did you like this movie, Chris?
What, for Love of the
For
Game?
Love of the Game?
No, it's not good. I mean, if you're a baseball fan, a lot of times just things stick out, and this is, like Jeremy's saying, the whole flashback part of it, and the, there's very little real baseball being played in the movie, but he's on the mound the entire time thinking of all this stuff. It's just, it's
throwing
not,
heat.
Yeah. There was when we were doing our prep for this and everything, Barrett said that he wanted to avoid Coppola and Spielberg because they sort of have gone on a downslide over the years, and so they have a lot of these like bad movies. And I argue that it's not necessarily just bad movies that make a sore thumb movie. It's the fact that it's a movie that you would never think that they would try to direct. So like Spielberg and Coppola have made bad movies since their heyday, but I feel like all the ones that you would point to and say, that wasn't very good, are still movies that Spielberg or Coppola would do. It's just that they're just not it's just not their thing. And so the very first entry on that I thought of, and I had not seen this Coppola comment yet by the time, but when I wrote this down, it was funny. I like copied the question in my email, and then I put Coppola down immediately, and then I looked up, and Barrett had said I was avoiding Coppola and Spielberg. and Francis Ford Coppola did a movie in the '90s with Robin Williams called Jack.
Ugh.
Yeah.
That he had, Coppola had this huge body of work where, they weren't like nothing. Not everything is The Godfather. Not everything is Apocalypse Now. But he had a solid run there through the '70s and '80s, and then in the '90s, suddenly he does this thing about Robin Williams being a child, and it doesn't make any sense. When you see the trailer for this thing, you're like, it's like directed by Francis Ford Coppola. And you're like, huh? What? Robin Williams movie? Francis Ford Coppola? Okay. I don't even remember too much about Jack, other than it's, if you look at Robin Williams' filmography, there is that one thing that he would always do where he would be he would be the comedy guy he's trying to brighten the day of these people who are always serious and everything. So he's always that kind of guy and whatever. But I remember he's playing a child essentially. If I remember, it's
like a 8-year-old in a grown man's body.
Yeah, it's
maybe
like
he aged too fast or some shit.
Yeah.
I saw it. I think I built it. I watched it.
I saw it in the theater too. Yeah,
that's all I remember. It sucked. This was in a run though, where Williams had a bunch of misses with like Jacob the Liar and Bicentennial Man and Jack. There was a run there where he could do no right, and then he turned it around. I don't know where RV falls and all that, but RV has been on one of these movie channels recently.
It's funny because we just talked to the guy who did the Robin's Wish and everything, and he said that when he was talking to his widow about some of these movies, he's like, Robin Williams was the kind of guy who would take a film because he had like 30 people working under him, and he wanted to keep them working. So like he would just take a stupid movie just to do that. You know?
Yeah, and he specifically mentioned RV.
Yes.
And then World's Greatest Dad that Bobcat Goldthwait directed. He was like, I'll defend that movie to my death. Tyler Norwood is the guy's name.
Wow.
Yeah. Jack is about, it's an unusual disorder that has aged him 4 times faster than a typical human being. So a boy looks like a 40-year-old man. And
you see that all the time.
Right. Happens.
It's common.
Yeah. But is there a real thing that does that at all?
Every time I say there's not, somebody on the comments says there is. And
well, I mean, that's the thing. Like, that's why I'm a little worried about that. But like, there are afflictions. What would you call it? I don't know if affliction is the right word. Where adults look like children when they're in the 30s and 40s, kind Gary Coleman and Emmanuel Lewis and Andy Milonakis and all these guys have that.
It's a result of Werner syndrome, a form of progeria, whatever that means. That's what Wikipedia says. So probably at least based on a real thing.
Yeah, who knows?
Doesn't make the movie better.
We'll have to look that Barrett. We'll just have to look that up later and make sure. Like if that's like a real thing, I would hate to be like disparaging in any way. But
I don't think we were we?
No, I'm just when you say it's not a real thing, or if you say that that's something that's so common or whatever, I don't know.
All right, I'm going to read off a list of movies highlights, and for you guys know who this is, but for you listeners, let me see if you know who this is.
Ooh,
all right,
Tom Cruise.
This director, his first movie is the classic Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf as a director. Second movie, also a classic, The Graduate. Okay. Also went on to direct Catch-22, the famous Joseph Heller novel, Carnal Knowledge with Jack Nicholson, The Day of the Dolphin, The Fortune. A lot of these starred Jack Nicholson. Gilda Live, which was Gilda Radner. He recorded one of her performances. Silkwood, Academy Award winner Silkwood. Heartburn, Biloxi Blues, which we've talked about before. Working Girl, 80s classic. Postcards from the Edge. And then Regarding Henry, which is a pretty good movie with Harrison Ford. Then Wolf. Let me continue. The Birdcage.
Yep.
Primary Colors. I'll skip a few, and then the Angels in America miniseries on HBO. Closer, a movie that you know we love. And then Charlie Wilson's War, which is a terrific movie starring Tom Hanks.
Mm-hmm.
This is Mike Nichols. Mike Nichols has an otherwise absolutely stellar Hall of Fame directorial career. But I dare you, motherfucker. I double dare you to watch Wolf. You watch it, and you tell me that that's worth, like, urinating on the print to make it go away.
You got to go all the way and do the Jeremy special. I've told this story before, but I saw Wolf and Maverick the same night. Back
Ain't
to
nothing
back.
wrong with Maverick. You watch your mouth.
Well, maybe Wolf tainted the experience.
It must have.
Mm-hmm.
But also Maverick wasn't very good. But Wolf is terrible, I will admit.
Oh, it's so bad.
I don't understand why they can't make a good Wolfman movie.
I don't know. I was watching it late one night, and I texted Chris, and I was like, how is Wolf so bad? You got Jack Nicholson, you got Michelle Pfeiffer, you got Mike fucking Nichols.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's just a shit show. It is awful.
Yeah, this one I have no idea why it was made. You have a guy here who has already 20 plus years of a record. So he can do pretty much anything he wants at this point. And this was 3 years after Regarding Henry. So like, it's not like there was any real pressing need to do this movie. Birdcage that came right after that, but there wasn't anything there that says, oh, he needed to do this movie because maybe it could have been a money thing. The only thing I can think of is this was a money thing, and you have a situation where he hasn't worked for a few years, and he hasn't been seeing any projects that he likes, and so it's like, okay, why don't we do this Wolf movie with Jack Nicholson and Michelle Pfeiffer? Surefire hit because we've got those two people in it, and let's make some money. Then we'll make some money, and I don't know why it is that they can't make good Wolf movies. I think the premise is a little limiting at times. But they're
going to do it again with the fucking Ryan Gosling and somebody we like. I think it's Lee Winnell.
Oh,
well, yeah. that certainly makes me think that he might be able to do something with it, because Lee Winnell is one of those up and comers that I really think could possibly do a Wolf movie differently. But most of the time it revolves around, guy goes out in the woods, he gets bit, and now he's turning into a wolf. Oh no, what are we going to do about that? He's murdering people.
Son of a bitch.
And then he turns into a zombie and starts dancing like Michael Jackson.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
It is Lee Winnell. Lee Winnell and Ryan Gosling are making that, but Lee Winnell is also making or remaking Escape from New York after that.
Oh, really? Huh.
I wonder if John Carpenter will sue him.
Yeah. I know that Wolf movie that they're doing is probably part of that big universe that they're sort of quietly not announcing a new monster verse, right? Like they did Invisible Man, it did pretty good, and that was Lee Winnell as well.
And it got excellent reviews, which I think is even more important to them.
Yeah, and so Invisible Man didn't really seem part of all of that. They said it was, but I don't know. It's certainly not, it's certainly not in the same universe really as The Mummy, which is where they were starting all of that.
Yeah, I think they're just going to retcon The Mummy and stealth their way back into one. I definitely think Wolfman and this Elizabeth Banks Invisible Woman movie are both going to be connected somehow.
Elizabeth Moss.
No, Elizabeth Banks is making Invisible Woman. Elizabeth Moss is an Invisible Man.
I thought you
Sorry. No, you're right. Although I confuse those Elizabeths all the time, that's for sure.
Yep. By the way, Elizabeth Moss should get an Oscar nomination for what she did in that Invisible Man movie.
I have yet to see it, but I really, really want to. I heard it's great.
Yeah, it is.
Well, this is the definition to me of a sore thumb movie, regardless of the impetus for why he made it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not, to me, and this is the reason that I personally didn't want to include Coppola and Spielberg, because they've kind of just tapered off towards the end of their career. Mike Nichols finished strong. I mean, Closer, Angels in America was amazing. Closer is fantastic. And the Charlie Wilson's War, the last movie he directed, is a fantastic movie that I think is underseen.
Mm-hmm.
And after Wolf, he did Birdcage. And so, it's not like Wolf signified the beginning of the end, like Jack did almost with Francis Ford Coppola. It's like he got back up to all-star level and finished strong. So this is crazy.
I think Mike Nichols is the exception, though, to what normally happens. Mike Nichols and Sidney Lumet was doing good stuff all the way until he died, and I think that's the exception a lot of times. Who knows? I mean, sometimes I think a director's so big, you get into the situation of Spielberg and Coppola. They're so big that nobody tells them no anymore, and that's the issue, right? Because who's going to tell Spielberg he's wrong about anything at this point?
I saw an article this morning about a biography of Alec Guinness that contained some letters that he had sent about being approached for this Star Wars movie. Basically, he calls him Paul Lucas and Tennyson Ford. But he's like that. But it's that Paul Lucas guy who made that American Graffiti movie. So maybe I should. But it's fantasy rubbish. Anyway, there's some very interesting quotes in there.
Yeah.
The only sore thumbs I have left, all of them, I don't know how many rounds we're going, but they're all not bad, meaning they're examples of good sore thumbs.
Yeah. Let's keep this going, baby. This is fun.
So I'm going to go with Christopher Guest. Again, we've talked about this before at some place, but you mostly know Christopher Guest from comedies. You mostly know him from This Is Spinal Tap, Little Shop of Horrors, Princess Bride, and then, all of the mockumentaries that he made, Waiting for Guffman. He's been a voice on The Simpsons, Best in Show, Mighty Wind. And somewhere in the middle of all that, he plays the very serious small role of Dr. Stone in A Few Good Men, being questioned about the possible murder of Santiago. And it's always been like, Christopher Guest? Why is Christopher Guest in this role? It feels like a favor. Now, again, it is Rob Reiner making this movie, and Rob Reiner made This Is Spinal Tap.
Yep.
And there's no reason to look any further than that for a reason why Christopher Guest is in the movie. But for a movie that does have several characters that are funny, you'd think you would give Christopher Guest one of those characters instead of almost menacing. But
it's funny.
Maybe he's tired of being funny. He's like, I don't want to be funny. let me be the medical examiner. Some boring shit.
But he's excellent in that part too.
He is, exactly. That's my point. This is one of these things that's not like the other on his resume, but he's still great in it. Of course, that movie's fantastic. But you look up and down his resume, and that's the thing that stands out. Like there's voice on Animaniacs and Simpsons and Dilbert and A Few Good Men. Plays the doctor.
I remember I was listening to commentary on one of the Simpsons episodes. It may have been the one where Spinal Tap, I think it was the one where Spinal Tap was on the episode, and I can't remember who it was, but they were talking back and forth, and he said, "Well, he's like, it was great getting Spinal Tap in and doing some voices and everything." It's like there was one guy who was kind of hard to deal with, and I don't know if I want to say his name or not. It's like, and somebody was like, he's like, "Yeah, let's just say that he was a very special guest." Yeah, very special guest. He was very difficult on the thing. So yeah, I wonder what that was all about.
That's hilarious. Yeah, he's great, man, because he's got that wonderful exchange. And it's not a very good performance by Tom Cruise at this point, where he's coming up on him. He's like, if you had a heart condition, what would that manifest as? And he's like, palpitations, nausea, fatigue. And then he's like, what do you have on this, the last report? Fatigue. And he does this like weird stare down thing. And it's like, all right, he's being a little artificial. But Guest like gives him just a straight ass look. And he's like, no. He's like, no. I mean, I swear to God, because the guy has been paid off. I don't even know what the doctor's deal is, because it's not like Jessup's going to help him get to like NIH or something like that. Like he's just standing up for Jessup in solidarity. You know what I mean? Like, how did they pay this guy off?
Yeah, who knows?
I don't know.
Well, I mean,
took a right turn there.
Isn't that a typical thing though? There are doctors out there who, if you pay them to be your witness, that's what they do. Is they find the way of saying that your report is going to help you. My report will help you out. I mean, that's a for hire thing that some people do, right?
I guess so. I guess
in fact,
so.
Isn't that something that they bring up in the proceedings? Is that, aren't you? I could be confusing a lot of different courtroom dramas here, but
there is one that does this. It's not A Few Good Men, but I know what you're talking about.
He's an internist. He's not a pathologist, and I believe this is where she strenuously objects. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Where you're like you've got the judge saying the man is an expert, and I will hear his opinion.
Yeah.
Of course, you even had the judge calling him this.
Yeah, but there's one courtroom drama where somebody's like, it's safe to say that you were hired by the prosecutor or hired by the defense to you regularly get hired by lawyers to give them what they want, basically. But yeah, that's a thing, and I don't know if that's illegal to do. I mean, if you're fudging statistics and fudging.
Well, he flat out said there was no way that it could be anything than lactic acidosis caused by poison. And so that's perjury. I mean, he knows better. So he knew that he had a heart condition. So yeah, that what Christopher Guest's character did in Few Good Men was perjury. So that's definitely illegal.
Is it Primal Fear?
I mean, it could be. The line that's running through my head right now is a movie I've seen many times, but I can't remember what that movie is because I can even hear the flow of it and everything.
But it's probably not Primal Fear.
Yeah.
Well, no, you have expert witnesses. If that's what you're talking about, like guys that are signed up to be on a list of expert witnesses, especially psychiatrists and psychologists and stuff like that. I used to be taught by one of these guys in grad school. He went through, it was a forensic psychology class, and he went through like the process to get yourself on this list. You have to be credentialed out the ass. You have to be on all these boards, certified and everything before they'll even let you in the door. So yes, that is a cottage industry. But you have to still stay within the factual structure of the thing.
Yeah. I mean, I doubt most of the time these people who are for hire doctors or whatever are willing to go on and say, I'm going to completely lie for you. But that I'm sure that what they do is that if it is within an acceptable, like, hazy category where they can say, I believe it's this, they will do that in case of, in the case of the Christopher Guest character in A Few Good Men, though, you're probably talking about a guy who is definitely just lying. But I mean, yeah, he's getting paid for his appearance, so that's all he needs is to say what he says. So,
what an asshole!
Exactly,
Man, it is going to drive me crazy until I know what that is. So if you think of it later, you better fucking tell me.
Yeah, I mean, movies like JFK and A Time to Kill are running through my head, but
A Time to Kill came to my mind too. God damn it!
Yeah, but I can't remember because when he says this, he says something like, we could reasonably believe that you were hired to help this case on the basis of this trial or whatever. Like, you're regularly done that or whatever. And I can't remember. I just can't remember right now what it is. I'll have to have a time where I'm just stopping to think to get it, to finally get it. But an actor that I thought, now this actor has gone on to do a lot of crap. So it may be the same kind of criteria that fails, like, the whole, like, the Coppola Spielberg test on this, but Robert De Niro in Adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle is a movie that stands out. De Niro had done comedies before, and like Midnight Run, it makes sense for him to do a character like he does in Midnight Run. We're No Angels is just a typical, everyday comedy. Analyze This is playing on his old gangster characters, and Meet the Parents is still kind of, playing on that tough guy character and everything. But The Adventures of Rocky Bullwinkle was the first time I really finally thought that De Niro had sold out. That was the movie that was like, okay, I have done the work that I'm going to be remembered for. Now I just need to keep paychecks coming through. And, he does Adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle. He even does the taxi driver line in that movie.
Yeah.
It makes you feel very, very gross when he does it, to play off on something iconic like that in that movie. And I understand it's kind of fun in a way to get him to say that shit again. I just don't think Adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle's that movie. That's the one that stands out. Now, after that, you're going to see him in tons of things that you like, oh my God, this is the great Robert De Niro. Like The Irishman. No, I'm just kidding. But
did you ever watch Adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle when you were a kid?
Yeah,
just a little bit.
I watched it a lot. It was wasn't on Nickelodeon, but there was another early morning cartoon channel that I would watch sometimes before school, and Rocky and Bullwinkle were on there. I always thought it was amusing. I mean, the reason I bring that up is that I think they could have made a good movie out of this, and I think a Robert De Niro cameo as Boris would not have been necessarily a terrible thing had they decided to make it somewhat enjoyable of a movie,
Remember when around the same time Brendan Fraser played Dudley Do-Right in a movie?
Yeah,
and George of the Jungle, both Saturday morning staples.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Boy, George of the Jungle was seriously a one-note cartoon. It was him
slamming
going
into a
trees.
Tree. Yeah.
It's laid out in the theme song.
And they made a movie
all
out
he
of
does
that.
is whack himself in the tree.
Made a movie out of that. It has an all-timer though in it, when there is a time where some of the characters step in shit, and it's like, aha, typical family movie. Somebody steps in shit, but they actually acknowledge it in the movie, and it's like, now this is where we stare at the camera and laugh.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Rocky and Bullwinkle.
Yeah.
That's a bad. Who played Natasha in that? Was it Kristen?
Oh, I know who you're talking about. I think
from
I
Third
think,
Rock from the Sun.
I think you might be right. I'm looking at it.
Who played who?
Natasha to De Niro's Boris.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, that was Rene Russo. And,
Rene Russo.
Jason Alexander played Boris. Robert De Niro was fearless leader in the movie.
Okay. Well,
Piper Perabo, Karen Sympathy.
Oh, yeah.
Randy Quaid was Cappy Von Trappman.
Sure he was.
Yeah.
We have
that's a good one. Are you ready for me?
I'm ready.
Okay, so here's a bad person, a bad director with a good movie.
Okay.
All right. So Brett Ratner, I think, has been accused credibly of being a scumbag.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so many instances of this, whether it's an Ellen Page story or whether it's a sexual assault story. Brett Ratner started off as a music video director, directed some classics, D'Angelo, Mary J. Blige, Jodeci, Wu-Tang. And then he came out with Money Talks. Not a good movie. Then he came out with Rush Hour. All right. That's maybe like, a passable movie. I don't really like Rush Hour, but whatever. Goes back to doing music videos for a while, does The Family Man, not a very good movie. Rush Hour 2, even worse than the first one. Then comes out with the prequel to The Silence of the Lambs, Red Dragon. Now, Red Dragon is a remake of the previous De Palma movie with William...
No, it's Michael
Peterson.
Mann.
William Peterson in it.
Yeah, it's Michael Mann.
Called Manhunter.
Michael Mann.
Michael Mann, sorry. Yeah, Michael Mann. And so Red Dragon comes out. When I saw Red Dragon in 2002, didn't really know who Brett Ratner was, even though I'd watched a lot of his music videos. And I loved it. I loved it even after reading, I had read the trilogy before that. I think Hannibal had come out before that. Read certainly the first book in Silence of the Lambs from Thomas Harris, and I loved it. The cast was fantastic. Philip Seymour Hoffman as the scumbag Freddie Lowndes, Emily Watson in there, Ralph Fiennes, Edward Norton, of course, Anthony Hopkins. And so I thought it was delightful. And literally, it is the only thing of note that I've seen Brett Ratner do as a director. He did the X-Men movies.
The third one.
He did the third one. So he did the shitty one. He did Tower Heist. He did that Rock Hercules movie. And so it's really been a shit show, except for what I think is a good movie in Red Dragon.
Well, Carrie's Red Dragon is Philip Seymour Hoffman and Ralph Fiennes. And you get, what's crazy to me is that dude played Hannibal Lecter in Hannibal in 2001 and in Red Dragon, which was a flashback movie in 2002. So he's in all three of the Hannibal Lecter movies that all have different directors, even though...
Did you just call Anthony Hopkins dude?
Yeah, I did. Julianne Moore takes over for Jodie Foster in one of them. So there's some weird... It's a shared universe, but it's not. But Red Dragon, I think, is infinitely watchable, even though I don't think it's as good as Silence. And
it's
honestly,
better than Hannibal, don't you think?
It is, but I still think Manhunter is better than Red Dragon.
I understand that, and probably 90% of the universe feels the same way.
And I think Brian Cox makes a fine Hannibal Lecter, even though he's not the same.
You're absolutely right.
So here's a thing I struggle with, and this is something that you should totally not struggle with.
Awesome.
I have a hard time saying Red Dragon is a remake of Manhunter. When it's a new adaptation of an existing book. I understand remake can mean a lot of things, but I wonder about that. Are we really saying this is a remake of Manhunter, or is this a remake? I guess the book is being remade.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying?
I agree with you. I don't think it's a remake of the movie, but I had never seen Manhunter until I watched Red Dragon 10, 11 times, and then Manhunter came on one day. And even though I now prefer Manhunter, I was shocked how many beats and exact lines of dialogue are in both movies.
Wow.
Because they are both pulling from the same source material, but you'd almost think it's almost like he didn't watch Manhunter to realize that he was making the exact same movie.
They're both very faithful adaptations.
Yeah,
It's
like
ridiculous.
you can hear some of the same exact conversations in both movies. It's nuts.
It's kind of funny that you watch Red Dragon 12 times and then you watch Manhunter and now you prefer that one. That's usually not what happens, right? You watch a movie and you see it millions of times. I still haven't seen Red Dragon.
Well, I would
really.
Oddly,
Yeah.
I would say Red Dragon is more watchable, but Manhunter is the better film.
Mm-hmm.
But Red Dragon is glossier and has, I think, more actors showing off.
Mm-hmm.
Emily
Watson
is great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, everybody's great in this. Even Ed Norton, who I'm loath to give praise to, is good in this movie.
Now, see, well, okay, I'll give you that because my favorite parts of this are Ed Norton and Anthony Hopkins squaring off, because it's the polar opposite of what you get with Clarice Starling and Hannibal Lecter. He's tired of Hannibal's bullshit at this point. Like, he's been working with him for years. He catches him at the beginning. He puts him in prison. When he comes back to him, he's just like, man, fuck you. And Hannibal keeps like baiting him with like, how did you catch me? Well, how did you catch me?
Mm-hmm.
And he's just like, you know what? Fuck you. Just give me your opinion, dude.
He says, I let you kill me. I let you kill me.
I let it.
Those
I let him
interactions
kill
are good. I think there's much more electric chemistry between Jodie Foster and than
Well, you could argue that there's more electric chemistry between Brian Cox and William Peterson too.
Agreed.
But I think that's coming more from Brian Cox's side. I think William Peterson overall in that movie in Manhunter is a blank slate. And I understand that. I understand that's a way to play it and it's a way to play that character. But to me, Ed Norton has that weariness of a dude that survived all this shit, that's been through all this, that has that mental weight
and can see
of
all of this coming, even while he agrees to do it. It's Chris, you should definitely watch it because there are some very good performances, even if you don't ultimately enjoy the whole story. But I like the killer they're chasing in this movie's story more than, God, we're talking about this movie for forever. More than I like Buffalo Bill's story in Silence of the Lambs. Silence of the Lambs is a better movie, but I like the Ralph Fiennes story more, both in terms of how he became who he is, and in terms of the way he kind of outsmarts everybody at one point in this movie, showing that he's more than just a murderous monster. He's a murderous monster who's smart, which is even scarier. So.
Yeah, and that's very reminiscent of the book. So, and I really love the book. In fact, it may be one of my favorites out of the trilogy, because Silence is a good book, but it's not nearly as good as the movie.
Well, and it's also, I want to point out, one of the only two movies that makes me constantly think of the Fountains of Wayne song, Red Dragon Tattoo. The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo and Red Dragon. You put them together, you get Red Dragon Tattoo is just about me. I got it for you. So now do you want me with nothing to prove? Will you be my honey? Oh yeah, with you I can fly. Okay, stop. Red Dragon Tattoo.
Keep it going, baby.
I'm fit to be tied and fit to have you. There you go. Fountains of Wayne rules.
All right, everybody, it's time to talk about BetterHelp.
BetterHelp.
I'm giddy about this because I have something that I've never had before. I got somebody to sign up for BetterHelp.
Boom.
And I was very integral at their request of helping them with this because they had never done it before. This person had gone, I swear to God, this is a completely true story, had gone through insurance to see which therapists were covered, PhDs, PsyDs, LCSWs, NPCs, all these things. Everybody that she called that was somewhere in the ballpark was full. This one's full. This one's full. We're not accepting new clients, all that stuff. People all around the area. And finally I said, just try the BetterHelp. She logged on, figured out how much it would cost, used our code,
Nice.
which is betterhelp.com/SinCast, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't even 24 hours. Within, I think, 5 or 6 hours, the counselor contacted her and on their way.
Yeah.
And it was, and they had like an early, just like pre-interview before they even got into everything else. And it's going really, really well. And I was very, very happy because again, I'm not making this up. It took a long time. I was like, you really should just try this. I'm telling you, I've been doing it for over a year. And of course, it'd been over a year since I did the process of signing up. And it's like, no, I'm going to find, somebody in my area, somebody in my network, have the opportunity to go there and all that stuff, scheduling. No, everybody says no, not accepting new clients, all that stuff. Fine, I'll try BetterHelp. Signed up, and she was like, I should have done this a while ago. I was like, I know, listen to me. So I'm very excited that I got a convert. It's early in the process, so I'm not going to pop my suspenders too much. I don't even know if that's a thing.
It's a thing.
I think it's a thing.
It's a thing.
Okay. All right. Well, if I had suspenders, I would be popping.
Everybody knows what you mean by that.
BetterHelp is an excellent way to dip your toe in the water for therapy, right? Because it allows you to do it from the safe space of your own home. Added benefit during a pandemic when you don't really want to go out that much anyway. Mm-hmm. And if you don't vibe with your first therapist, you can try another one. And
one of the first things this guy said, by the way.
Yeah.
And not in a weird way, not like, oh, I don't want you. It was more of like, this is an option, so don't feel like you're pressured into anything.
A therapist that wants you to get better will understand not every therapist-client relationship gels as well as it could. Personalities are personalities.
Personality goes a long way.
It does. Let's not start quoting Pulp Fiction on a BetterHelp ad. But my point is, if you are trying therapy for the first time in the quote unquote physical space, right? You're driving to a place, you're going into a lobby. There may be other people there. It's an uncomfortable space. Probably feel like you have to dress nicer than you would if you were at home. There's so many ways that BetterHelp eases, I think, some of the fears people have about therapy. And allows you to try it. And I truly believe once you try it, you will see that there is progress that can be made if you keep with it.
I agree. And from seeing the interface from a year ago until now, it's grown a little bit. But man, the infrastructure was there from the get-go. And the fact that you can contact your counselor whenever you need to via talk, text, chat, video, all that stuff, set up your session, have your calendar available in your counseling room, which is personalized to your own thing, send messages, get paperwork back and forth. I'm serious, man. This is just the easiest way to address your mental health. I'm not kidding around about this, and neither should you. You need to address something that is bothering you before it becomes a full-blown problem. BetterHelp is fantastic at helping you address it and helping to treat it. Go to betterhelp.com, HELP.com/SinCast. Get 10% off, like my friend did, your first month. And, I mean, it's like the hair club guy. I'm not only the president, I'm also a client, except I'm not the president, so it's not like the hair club guy at all. But I am a client.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not with that attitude.
They need to hire me on. But I really have appreciated all the experience that I've had through the ups and downs. We've had other people tell us this. I'm very, very happy I got somebody else in the process of therapy in general. But I love this platform, especially these days. So go to betterhelp.com/SinCast, and you're on your way. You're on your journey, and bon voyage, and enjoy, and I hope you get the most out of it.
I'm going to go with my man, best friend of the show, Sylvester Stallone, who has throughout his entire career been an action hero, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whether you're talking about Rocky or Rambo or
Rockbo,
Demolition Man or Cliffhanger or the arm wrestling movie that's hysterical. He's always the action hero. He's the tough guy. He always wins, except for I think one of the Rocky movies. Anyway, he's the winner. He's the guy. Then along comes God. I know the movie. I'm trying to think of the director's name.
You get all rammed up for it.
Logan, the director.
Copland.
Copland is the movie. I know that. I'm trying to think of the director's name.
James Mangold.
James Mangold. Fuck my ass. So Stallone does what I think many in Hollywood might have considered a dangerous thing by shedding that image, right? Now, we have heard today in modern times, there are stars, like there's rumors that The Rock and Vin Diesel and Jason Statham all have like contract clauses about how many fights they get to win and how many times they're willing to look bad in a fight, because it's part of their whole image that they're selling to everybody. So he basically sheds everything. He sheds all the muscles. His hair grows out. He is a beaten, broken, soft man in this movie who has been abused and put upon by the NYPD cops that live in his New Jersey town. He is the exact opposite of the kind of character Stallone. He's still the hero, but he's reluctant about it. And it's just, it stands out to me looking up and down his resume as the one movie that's not like the others. Because he's then, he's gone back to playing Rocky some more and Rambo some more. And but this is the one where I think he was like, I'm going to show him I can act. And he fucking did, because he's awesome in that movie.
Yeah, it definitely came out of nowhere, right? Because Stallone had done nothing but exclusively action films, really, for most of his time. And then Copland, he's in a movie with De Niro and Keitel and, just
Ray Liotta.
Yeah. So like he's, the whole idea, I mean, him compared to the other actors in that movie is one of these things is not like the other.
Yep.
In of itself, it's like it's sort of an Inception kind of thing of the category we're talking about here, right? Because he's inside, like the movie is something he wouldn't be in, and the actors he's acting with are things that doesn't make sense. I recently got Copland again on Blu-ray, and I need to rewatch it.
I saw it actually after we talked about it last time, and forgot how insular it is, because everything really takes place within that little district, except for like a little bit on the island with De Niro's character. De Niro's the FBI agent, or the internal affairs guy, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the interplay between Harvey Keitel and Sylvester Stallone is what makes this movie, because Keitel knows he's got him in his pocket. He knows he owns him. He doesn't have him in his pocket because he's not paying him, but he knows that he owns him. And anytime Sly comes into the bar and he's just trying to relax a little bit, and they're acting up in the back with Ray Liotta and Keitel and everything, and they can do whatever they want. And they're like, sheriff's over there, tell him to arrest us. And he'll just have this like hangdog look and be like, he's not going to do anything. And it's you're right. It's an indelible performance. It's a movie that really should get a lot more praise and more recognition that it does, because it's all-star players in a really cool drama playing against, a lot of them playing against type. But yeah, Sly's excellent in that. Sly's awesome. He gets his nose broke at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Again.
Yeah. He's had several breakings of the nose over his career.
Yeah. This is a movie I have not seen, but I think it qualifies. Music of the Heart.
Oh.
Directed by Wes Craven.
Yeah, that's wild. That's wild.
Really?
Yeah.
Yep. It even came out around Halloween.
With Meryl Streep?
With Meryl Streep. You would never think there'd be a Wes Craven Meryl Streep movie, but there is indeed. She got nominated, of course.
Of course.
And as did Diane Warren for that Music of the Heart song that was, I think, was it NSYNC that did it? or was it Backstreet Boys? That did
I
that?
hope it's both. I hope it was like a super group of all
Oh,
8 of all 12
yeah.
of them.
It was
that.
NSYNC and Gloria Stefan.
What's that?
It was
NSYNC.
NSYNC and Gloria Stefan.
Yeah. Diane Warren, who had written so many of these treacly movie songs throughout the 90s. I think that was like her 437th nomination. Because I think she also wrote that song from Con Air. Was it Con Air? The How Do I Live?
How Do
I
And it was you had that Trisha Yearwood and Leanne Rhymes like East Coast West Coast fight.
I think she wrote the songs Piper Perabo sings in Coyote Ugly.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Why do I know that song?
I don't know, but Diane Warren was like everywhere back in the day. The movie is about a school teacher trying to teach kids from Harlem how to play violin. So you definitely think of Wes Craven to direct something like that, because his track record shows that when you need a drama of a teacher going into the inner city and everything, you need to have Wes Craven, because
it's like a hard discipline, hard times.
I would like to say, I'm right. Diane Warren wrote the song "Can't Fight the Moonlight," performed by Leanne Rhymes on the soundtrack to Coyote Ugly.
There you go. There you go.
In the movie.
What was the Michelle Pfeiffer Gangster's Paradise? Hard learning, Dangerous Minds. Yes.
Hard learning. Learning is hard.
She did that after Wolf.
Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah. Wes Craven.
Eddie Garcia was in that movie before it came out.
He was indeed.
But he wasn't anymore.
Yeah. But yeah, I that was one, it's funny like at the time when you see trailers for Music of the Heart and everything, and it's like directed by Wes Craven, and you're like, what?
What?
This doesn't make sense. None of this makes sense. Like, even if you're Wes Craven and you're like, I want to do something different, would you pick that as the movie that you do that's different? Like, I've had this on my chest for a long time. I've always wanted to do a Lean on Me type of movie.
I'm sick of this horror bullshit.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I had forgotten about that.
Yeah.
I got a fun one here. So, Cameron Diaz. Is Cameron Diaz a good actress? I think so. Okay. And here's her sore thumb movie. Being John Malkovich. Now, I hadn't watched Being John Malkovich in a long time because it's such an unusual movie. You really have to pay attention to it, essentially, right? So John Cusack is an out-of-work puppeteer that goes to work for this weird business, and Cameron Diaz plays his wife. Now, at the time, I remember joking. This was 1999. I remember joking, boy, they really tried to scuzz up Cameron Diaz for this role, right? Mm-hmm. Make her look homely. Mm-hmm. And it's impossible to do because she's so gorgeous. Now, going back and watching this, she is still gorgeous, but they do a very good job of making her look frumpy and homely and stuff like that, the crazy hair and everything. Mm-hmm. And it makes you believe that John Cusack has really fallen out of love with her and is now interested in this Catherine Keener character. And she's just the regular bored housewife. She's obsessed with animals and everything. But then the first time she goes through Malkovich's brain, she has this epiphany of everything felt right. And you don't know what that means at first. It turns out that she has very transsexual tendencies. And it ends up she forms this relationship with Catherine Keener's character. And eventually, I'll spoil this movie, it's old, eventually ends up having her being the father to her baby. Mm-hmm. And the real Cameron Diaz character playing this is just a delight. I mean, she's absolutely committed to this role. There's no artifice to it whatsoever. And it's unlike anything that you will ever see in her catalog. After this, she went back to Charlie's Angels, shaking her booty. And it's delightful. Mm-hmm. But she went to do the holidays, what to expect when you're expecting, night and day.
Swallowed Tom Cruise's cum.
See, now, this is the type of shit you or like me or Barrett would say, and you would just be like, ugh. You're
in the
one of
context
us.
of the movie, of course.
You're a bad influence on me.
You're one of us.
Now you could make an argument and say that, and I would make this argument. Now, being John Malkovich is its own thing, but Any Given Sunday, she plays a real hard ass and not America's sweetheart, even though she's pretending to be America's sweetheart.
That movie sucks, though.
That movie does suck, though. Gangs of New York, which I maintain that I don't like, she is playing a very scuzzed up grifter slash almost hua, almost prostitute, but like she's with a lot of people, and Henry Thomas is trying to like get up in there, and then Leo is like, no, she's in me, or I'm in her. And so she plays
is your mouth full of coney juice or something?
Oh my god! She plays an object of affection.
She's John Malkoviching him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, indeed.
And then, of course, in Vanilla Sky, where she has that iconic line, she plays a very different character. So what I'm saying is that, first of all, I'm disappointed in the way that she does what she wants, and she makes a lot of money, so she doesn't need my opinion.
Nope.
But like I know that she's a better actress than What Happens in Vegas or My Sister's Keeper or Bad Teacher, shit like that. And I wish she had done that more, because you could tell way back in 1999 that she had excellent range. She was fantastic, and that's her sore thumb for show.
And she hasn't made a movie in 6 years.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So 14
I have a sneaking
Annie was her
suspicion.
last one.
Yeah, I have a sneaking suspicion she may have walked away. I don't really know. I know she's started a family with the rock guy she's married to.
Who is it?
Benji Madden?
Oh, she's married to
probably
Good
right.
Charlotte?
Yeah, I think that's right.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm not
I
crazy.
wonder if they're the same age.
She married Benji Madden in 2015. They have
Benji
one
Madden
child.
had this run of Ashley Simpson, Ashley something or other, like all these pop stars. And I was like, how the fuck is this happening? Was it Tisdale? Who was the one that had the lip syncing incident on
Jessica Simpson's sister.
Ashley Simpson? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I kind of like that song by the Pieces.
That song was fine.
Pieces of me.
That song was fine. She's the best. She's the best definition ever of manufactured pop star, right? Like, that somebody said, probably Jessica's dad said, we're going to make her a pop star. We're going to get the look. We're going to pay whatever it takes. We're going to get the song. We're going to pay whatever it takes. And it worked. It was like a hit song. And then she went away for the most part. Like,
I
as
think
far as like,
this is like a Phoebe Cates, right? Like she got married in 2015, which was right after the last movie that she did. She had her kid in 2019, and like very tip of 2019. So like she's probably busy doing mom stuff, and probably having fun just doing that at this point. You know,
Gene Hackman does.
She went out on sex tape.
Yeah.
And you know what? Sex Tape isn't the worst movie ever made.
Oh,
it's not good.
It kind of was, Barrett. If you really think about it, it's not as good as you think.
I found it watchable. It's not good, but I found it watchable.
I would rather watch that than Bad Moms. I'll give you that.
I would too, or Bad Teacher.
Would you say she plays the manic pixie dream girl and There's Something About Mary?
Yes. But I also think they do a good job, which is funny, telling something about the Farrellys that's nuanced. But I think they subvert that a little bit by making her a tomboy and her saying, I'm fucking with you, Ted, like, over and over again. And so, yes, she does. But I think she's given agency somehow.
I mean, she is, but everybody in that movie that isn't related to her wants to fuck her.
Yeah. Including
everybody.
Brett Favre.
And Favre.
Yep. I'll always be true to you.
Oh, but he wasn't. He wasn't.
He wasn't. He was.
That was the worst acting performance I've ever seen.
I like how everybody just forgets about the dick pics.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, no.
Right? His mangled dick.
Everybody forgets about the dick
Mangled
pics.
dick. I actually never saw the dick pics.
I think I did. I took a peek one day. It
I
was
can't tell his penis from any of the other penises I've seen online.
That's true. That's true. It could be any penis when you think about it.
It's like that Chappelle Show bit where he's like, "Ma'am, I couldn't even recognize my own penis out of a lineup." And, and he's like, "And me and my penis are like that."
Oh man, the R. Kelly shit where he's like, "How do I know that was pee? That pee could be digital. You don't know."
It's the special effects, and then he starts peeing on the prostitute.
See, I wasn't even doing that.
Yeah, I
I wasn't even doing that. That's just special effects. You want to get to questions?
Question. I got something to say. I want the truth.
I am listening.
Any questions? Oh, Jesus. By the way, these questions came from all over the world, man, and we're happy to hear from them. Keep them coming. Go to Cinemasins, SinCast at gmail.com. Hit us up on Twitter, Reddit. There's a dedicated, every week there's a dedicated discussion thread for questions that we do check, and yeah, keep them coming. All right, first one here. We'll do this. Greetings from Wales.
Wales. That's
it's
not
spelled
a real place.
Kimru.
The
Welsh.
Wales. Oh, you mean the country, not the animal.
Yes, not like he's not riding a whale right now.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of like free will.
I would love it if a fucking whale sent us mail. That would be amazing.
Just he's got a harness and
Or
like
just-
a whip.
Like
That's not how that movie goes.
A whale rider who is just like going past a post office person who rides whales too, and then they hand off the mail to them, and then they go to coast, essentially.
Coast to coast
Anyway.
whale post.
Yes.
From Wales. I wonder if he's in Cardiff or Aberystwyth or in the other areas around there. It's not often studios change their opening studio logos, although I will parenthesize that it happens more often now. But what are your favorite / most memorable instances of this? First that come to this person's mind are the 8-bit Universal theme for Scott Pilgrim. That's an excellent choice. And Ralph Wiggum in the Simpsons movie intro. I had forgotten about that, but that's funny.
That is funny.
Yeah. So the first one that I thought of is actually not like the best thing ever, but I remember Universal making a big deal about changing their logo for the Lost World Jurassic Park. And so they, for a long time, Universal had a shot of the world that's spinning, and then Universal would just show up flatly on the screen, and you see space behind it and everything. When Lost World Jurassic Park came out, that's when they changed to the one that we all have seen for years and years and years now, where the Universal logo comes over the earth, and it's like do 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 doom doom, and all that. That's when the that new Universal logo came in, and we've been seeing that ever since. Then Warner Brothers has a fun thing with the Lego movie. The Warner Brothers logo is made out of Legos. I mean,
and they have the little fake clouds that come down that are attached to the strings. Those are fun.
Yeah. Unfortunately, there's so many that I remember some other things happening with other logos. I don't remember too many of them, but Zombieland Double Tap has the thing where the Columbia like lady or whatever with the torch. It's just your typical thing where it's like, you see the Columbia logo, and then zombies come out in front of the screen, and then she like beats them with the torch as they approach and everything. Right. So that's a fun one.
Nice. I always like the Matrix. Because it's the Warner Brothers logo, but it's all that green Matrix tint, and you hear that electronic digitizing noise. But my favorite, and maybe the first time I ever saw this happen in a theater was Waterworld. which again was just a fantastic fucking experience for me. I went in expecting it to be bad. I had read about the budget overruns and the director firings, and I knew the premise was the polar ice caps melted. I went with 14 friends. We took up a whole row. We snuck in Hostess cakes. It was awesome. And that movie
I
is
wish
still...
I was there for that. I would have a whole new thing. For
Oh my God, the movie is still to this day entertains me endlessly. But it's the Universal logo, but then on the Earth, you see the water start to fill up and cover all of the land until it's one big ball of water. Of course, that on that logo, they don't show you dry land, which is not a myth.
He's seen it.
I've seen it.
They did.
Those are the ones I thought of.
World was it 95,
95.
95 sounds
95.
right.
I remember those graphics not being very good, though. Right? I like the
which
concept. The ones on where the planet turns to water.
Oh, that graphic.
Yeah.
It may not be very good.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about the movie, and I was like, man, the whole reason that movie lost money is they insisted on shooting it
Used
in the
real
middle
water.
of the fucking ocean.
Ain't no fucking effects in that movie.
So there wasn't a lot of CG out there, baby. But
That would have been fucked up, right? They're like, they get like whoever's running the budget is like, oh shit, man, like filming on the real water is costing so much money, and like behind the scenes, they're doing it all in a fucking green screen and shit. That'd be the biggest scam ever.
Oh my God. Anyway, I've always, Warner Brothers keeps coming up in this. I've always gotten chills, no matter how good or bad the movie turns out, from the Harry Potter intros from the WB, because it's always, and you zoom past the WB, and then you see, boom, boom, ba-dum, boom, bam, boom, boom. It's that little like woodwind. I think it's a flute that comes in at first, and then you're going past like Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire or whatever. And they do, it almost looks like it gets progressively darker, the logo, as the movies go on, which would make sense. But those always give me chills, and it's a very rare thing when logos will give me chills. But they integrate that logo into the opening credits, and I appreciate that. So I think Warner Brothers does a good job in general of this. The only other one that I thought of was, I saw this movie in the theater, and I thought it was a mistake. I thought people like you had fucked up, but it was The Ring. And DreamWorks improbably did the Ring, and it's not even very overt. It's the regular, you zoom up to see the kid in the clouds fishing and everything, and then all of a sudden there's a blip where the screen kind of crackles for a second. And then it goes through the rest of the logo, and then blip, another one comes up, and you're like, is that all right, whatever. But it very much signifies the existence of this tape that has that sort of static in it. And I thought that was a cool, very, very subtle way to introduce your premise in the context of the logos.
Yeah, for sure.
you got another one?
Yeah. All right. So we've gone from Wales, a whale rider, going up and down, nimbly bimbly, all the way to Provo, Utah.
Ah, Provo. Famous for their cheese.
What did you say? Famous for their what?
Cheese.
Yes, famous for their cheese, the Provo cheese.
Is when it was famous because somebody was eating cheese by themselves and said, "I'm eating my provolone."
I got to tell you, there's we've gotten some very interesting questions, and this is a fairly simple question, but the context, for whatever reason, is unusual enough to where I had to include this one. In 2016, I moved to Kumasi, Ghana, to serve a mission for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Since the church has very strict rules about the amount or type of media that we can view while serving, for the 2 years I was there, I was only ever able to watch 3 movies, which were Moana, Coco, and Boss Baby.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
I finished my mission. Yeah.
Oh.
I finished my mission in 2018 and still haven't caught up on all the great movies that I missed. My question is, what 5 movies that came out from 2016 to 2018 would you consider essential must-sees for those of us who are off the grid for that time. Now, listen, God bless you for your service, first of all. Good luck with the Mormon stuff. I'm sorry about... No, I mean, 2 of those 3 movies are excellent. Moana is excellent. Coco is excellent.
It's like
Boss Baby is whatever.
like a fantastic meal followed by a dessert of poison.
But 3 years, man, I got to respect the hustle. I got to respect that this is your belief, and good for you. Having said that, a very interesting question. We are now going to give you 15 separate movies. I believe we all chose different movies that you must see from 2016 to 2018. I thought this was a very specific and fun question.
I gotta find. I doubled one of yours, Barrett. So I gotta find another one. So Chris, you have to go first.
Okay, so Barrett and Jeremy obviously took all the good ones because I'm always tardy on these things when it comes to show prep. But as a compliment to all those ones, and yeah, don't judge me. Don't judge me when I come up with these 5, and there's like tons of great movies that I'm not mentioning. It's all because Barrett and Jeremy have them. So The Nice Guys is the first
baby
that came to mind. Chan-wook Park's The Handmaiden is really good, and I recommend that to you two as well. I don't think you guys have seen this movie.
Yeah.
Bad Times at the El Royale.
Woohoo!
Upgrade, another Lee Wanell movie.
Upgrade is so much. You've got the most fun list, by the way. Nice Guys, fucking Upgrade, and what was the second one?
Bad Times at El Royale.
Oh, Bad Times at El Royale. Hell yeah, man. That's
and then Logan Lucky, also in Soderbergh's sort of like hick version of Ocean's 11. These are all really fun movies that you should carve out some time for. So yeah, that's my list. It's really like
fun as hell list.
11, 12, 13, 14, 15 of the ones that Barrett and Jeremy are going to cover.
Well, I'm going to go first because I think I heard Barrett say he's got a backup or 2, and I'm going to steal the one we doubled, even though I doubled intentionally because I just wanted to support. But now I want this person to have 15 total movies to watch and not 14. Hell or High Water, Arrival, Mission Impossible Fallout, Game Night, and my personal Jeremy pick, The Rider. Which is Chloe Zhao, who's making The Eternals. And I read a fascinating article the other day. First of all, they dropped the. It's just Eternals now. But it sounds like they gave her massive freedom to do some wild visual stuff in that movie. And I'm very, very excited. She actually has a movie coming out between now and then that I'm excited. I think it comes out next month or maybe November. But anyway, those were my 5. Let me go through them again because sometimes people ask us to repeat. Hell or High Water, Arrival, Mission Impossible Fallout, Game Night, and The Rider.
You're going to have a good time if you watch all 5 of those movies. Like within a week, you're going to have a good week.
Yeah. Well, I tried to represent various genres too. So
yeah, you need to put them in a proper order just to where you break up the comedy and the action and the heaviness and stuff like that. But I love that list a lot. All right. So my list is really, and again, I've got first dibs on this. So I was very excited to really have the pick of the litter. So one of my favorites from 2016 is La La Land. I think you will not have a bad time watching it. You can put it on any sequence or any part of the sequence I'm about to tell you. So La La Land, to me, is a must. Get Out is a must, I believe, from this 3 years. Yeah. I go back and watch Get Out maybe once every month, too, and I'm still not sick of it. It's really a great movie. I would recommend Yorgos Lanthimos' The Favorite.
Son of a bitch.
It's got a little bit of everything. You got a little salaciousness. You've got great acting. You've got interesting directing. You've got all-star performances from Emma Stone, Olivia Colman, and Rachel Weisz. I would recommend Black Panther. Black Panther has quickly become, even before Chadwick Boseman's death, become maybe my favorite MCU movie. Now, Iron Man has always held that spot with Avengers close behind, but Black Panther is so rewatchable because of all the connections between the leads. And I think culturally, it's one of the most important movies of that 3-year span. The other one, or the last one, I'm in a toss-up between Black Klansman and Phantom Thread. I think I would recommend Black Klansman because Black Klansman has more social relevance today. Phantom Thread is endlessly rewatchable to me. I think the music and the performances and the dress porn, I'm into dress porn, is fantastic. And it's one of my favorite directors. But I think overall, I would say watch Black Klansman. It's probably more rewatchable and more relevant to today than Phantom Thread. So mine are La La Land, Get Out, The Favorite, Black Panther, and Black Klansman.
Yeah, and there are plenty of others we did not mention on here that are also great movies to go find and everything. But I think that's a really good list of where to start anyway.
I do have to question, this guy is so pious that he went to Ghana on a mission trip for like 3 years. And yet he still listens to this podcast. And I'm wondering if recommending these movies will get him excommunicated.
I wonder how he feels whenever we go, fuck, shit, pussy, fuck, cock, fuck, pussy, cock, shit.
I asked a friend of mine who was Mormon once, like, are you allowed to watch some of these movies and everything? And he said that I think at BYU, they have a film class where they teach Pulp Fiction and they teach all these different, big hard R-rated movies. I don't know if there's a caveat to that or what, but it's not.
Sign a waiver.
You have to sign a waiver.
Yeah,
you have to get your parents' permission.
But
this is very demeaning to Mormons. I'm sorry. I'm being.
Is he allowed to watch Pulp Fiction?
Well, no. What I'm saying is that on the question itself, he's very careful about saying that while on the mission, he can't watch these movies. It sounds like you can watch whatever you want outside of that. But as long as you continue to do the right thing or whatever. Whatever you want to call it. I don't know what you want to call it. Follow the Mormon teaching. Yeah. I didn't even hear that.
I didn't say anything. I'm just laughing.
No, I heard Barrett say something and then you laughed.
Well, but I wasn't laughing at Barrett. Ironically, I was just laughing because this whole thing is very funny to me because it somehow sounds like the Mormons are less strict than my own upbringing.
Yeah, they might be.
They might be. That's true.
Yeah, I saw a Mormon movie once. I saw one like was supposed to play at Hollywood 27. It was a sneak preview of. I actually watched it to make sure that it ran through and everything. It was not a good movie.
I remember you telling me that. I actually, before all this bullshit started, I was going to get me and my wife tickets to Book of Mormon, which was coming to Nashville in a little bit. Because I haven't seen it yet. You guys went to see it, right?
Last time it was in Nashville, yeah.
Yeah, and I saw it when we were in New York last time, too. When you guys left, I still had a day left over. Watch Book of Mormon. You
saw 2001 and Book of Mormon on the same day, didn't you?
I think so, because I crammed like all sorts of entertainment in that last day.
That's awesome. That's
excellent.
It's pretty great.
Very simple question, but made us think quite a bit. What parts of your past do you think would influence your directorial styles? Love you guys. Take care. Thank you so much. This is interesting because none of us has directed a movie, but I think all three of us, are capable of learning how to do it, or at least placing trust in the right hands. And when it comes down to style, it would be very interesting to see how each of us would approach it. What do you guys think?
Well, first I have an anecdote because I watched part of this movie the other day called Margaret, and it's got a lot of people in it. Anna Paquin and Mark Ruffalo and Jean Reno, Allison Janney, and it's really fucking depressing. And I was like, because it's about a woman who witnesses a car accident and holds the hand of the victim as she dies, and then her dealing with that trauma. And I looked it up, and it's Kenneth Lonergan who made it. and directed it,
Oh,
and Manchester by the Sea. And I thought, who hurt this guy? And then I realized, not even joking, there probably actually is genuine trauma in his past that he is able to work through and use in his art and his writing. And so that's sort of where my brain went, was how have I been traumatized, and what ways would that impact my filmmaking? I got cheated on by a girlfriend in college that I thought I was going to marry. It made me very distrustful of women. I wouldn't be surprised if I wrote a movie about adultery, directed it, wrote it, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
When
Just
I was
like The English Patient.
Mm-hmm.
Jeremy Scott's The English
adultery.
Patient.
When I was young, I was freaking terrified of the water. Jaws, the movie, simply came out. I didn't even watch it, but I wouldn't take a bath once I had heard that this movie existed, because I thought Jaws was going to come up through the drain and eat me.
Wait, you were scared of all water or the ocean, or just...
For a long time, it was all water.
Really?
Yes, and you can see, if I were to show you the period that I was in a Christian rock band, maybe 40% of the songs have water imagery. And even if you look at the Able series that I've been writing, especially the second one and the third one, there's water imagery all over the place. And I think that comes directly from that childhood trauma of being terrified of the water. And then I thought probably my religious upbringing would have me poke sticks at religious authority here and there in the movies that I might direct. I could see me making a movie like Saved. Although when I watched that recently, I realized Mandy Moore is playing the same character as
Amanda Bynes
in
Easy A.
It's the same exact person.
Exactly.
All right. So there you go. There's my answer.
I love that I knew exactly what you were going to say before you said it.
I was actually thinking of Jess Wexler in Teeth, because that. She's playing that that kind of character. Those
you gotta have
promise
a promise ring.
Yeah. I've had a lot of if there's anything that would influence a directorial style for me, it's just the fact that I've had so many weird interactions with strangers over the years. I had a girl call my they called my I guess it was my parents' phone. I don't remember if they called. I had my own line, so maybe she called that line. It was a random girl, just randomly called me, and I was just like, "Yeah, I think it's the wrong number." And then we ended up having a conversation for like 2 hours.
Wow,
this was way back in the 90s. And like every night would be talking to this person, almost like it was a pseudo girlfriend, almost like it was.
She called back.
She kept calling. And I would call her sometimes. And then like that same year, I think I was at Tennessee Tech, and there was a computer system at the time where, like, if you got online and you were just doing anything online on their service, you could do a thing. I don't think you can do this anymore. This is dangerous as fuck. You can go and see who's online at the university at any time, and it shows you where they're online and everything. But I had a random, just like out of nowhere, somebody just like I guess you would call it what would you call it back then? It's not texting, but
DM.
It was a message. I guess it was an instant message of some sort, saying, "Hey, how's it going?" I'm like, I don't even know who you are, and like, oh, I don't know. It's just back and forth like that, like just sitting there typing with this girl I don't even know on this thing. So there's like stuff like that has happened just throughout my entire life, and of course, I generally go towards comedies anyway. I would probably direct comedies, so I would have interactions that are probably informed by these weird interactions I've had, and that's just two of them. There have been many more over the years. Just like, what was that? What the fuck was that?
So you would make like Twin Peaks type shit then?
Probably right? Charlie Kaufman type stuff. Just I get very in tune with those weird moments in movies where somebody's just randomly, just a stranger is talking to somebody and it's weird and everything. I'm like, yeah, I've been in this situation before. So yeah, that's something that would probably, and it goes along with dating life and everything else. It's just, there's been weird interactions in my life, man. Just some weird shit.
You could do like an Annie Hall type of thing where weird shit keeps happening even in the context of a normal relationship,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mhm.
Like Truman Capote walks by and you say, boy, he would win the Truman Capote look-alike contest.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I have cheesy answers and I have non-cheesy answer, or a non-cheesy answer.
Mm-hmm.
For the cheesy answer, I'll say fatherhood. And it's a weird thing. I think it would inform my directing style because there's this weird line of fatherhood, especially I don't know, especially these days when we're more informed than the Mad Men days where you just smacked them upside the head. At least that's how I was raised. It's a complicated thing where, like, earlier this morning I had to fix his ear for his earache, and the like. Just those moments, like, just make you absolutely melt. But then there's some times where you got to bust ass, metaphorically, not physically. Mm-hmm. And you got to say, like, I'm going to take away your screen time if you don't do this. Luckily, I have a kid that's very good and very loving. So, but I think having that sort of paternal relationship has informed me as a person and probably would as a director. This is going somewhere I hope is funny. My non-cheesy answer is, I spent about 16 years or so working in research, medicine, all that stuff. So I feel like I could approximate the scientific methodology that researchers and practitioners use, and I would be able to do that fairly accurately. So what I'm saying is that I'd either make Extreme Measures or that one where Harrison Ford yells at Brendan Fraser that he's already working around the clock.
What?
You remember that trailer where Brendan Fraser is losing his son to cancer or something like that? And he tells Harrison Ford, who's the doctor, and he's like, I need you to work around the clock. And Harrison Ford's like, I already work around the clock.
Harrison Ford? I did not remember this movie at all.
I don't remember this at all.
Stop it. Fucking cat.
I've got to look this movie up because
I'm doing the same.
Extraordinary Measures.
I saw that movie.
See, when you said Extreme Measures, I knew that movie.
Yeah.
So there's Extreme Measures and Extraordinary Measures.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is there a third movie in the Measures trilogy?
Desperate Measures.
Desperate Measures.
the Michael Keaton.
All right, that's our film festival. Let's do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's some great fucking actors in those movies.
Which movie measures up? Yeah.
Do you remember this trailer though? This
Yes,
line
now that I see the image, which is your usual bullshit fucking Photoshop poster that they do for these movies, where like Brendan Fraser and Harrison Ford definitely weren't in the same shot together. They're just like, well, let's just cut this scene out from like the 6 Days and 7 Nights, and then like let's get this one of Brendan Fraser and Crash, and then like put it in the same poster. But yeah, I do remember this now because I was like, what the fuck is this? And then I forgot all about it. I didn't know it existed anymore.
Well, it's extraordinary.
Extraordinary.
Yeah, exactly.
I already work around the clock. God damn. Yeah, so that would be my movie. I even forgot the name of it. Oh, it's a 6.4 on IMDb, 29 on Rotten Tomatoes.
Hey, friend of the show, Andy Garcia is in Desperate Measures.
Desperate Measures or Extraordinary Measures?
I wonder how much he was in the movie before they cut a bunch of his scenes.
I don't know. He's second billed under Michael Keaton, so he better be in there a lot.
He's the good guy, and Keaton is the bad guy. I saw all these movies.
What was Desperate Measures? What was the deal there?
It's about an honest police officer who desperately needs to save his son's life. However, after losing all hope, he finds out that a criminal, Peter McCabe, in jail is his only savior. So I don't know.
Oh,
Yeah. It's got a.
So
It's The Rock meets Into Darkness meets Extraordinary Measures.
Yes.
And Extreme Measures is the Gene Hackman movie, right?
Yeah, where he's growing nerves, he's taking homeless people and he's killing them for.
And he
his research.
says to Hugh Grant, "We don't have time to fuck around."
Yeah, we don't have time to fuck around. No, he says, if you had to kill one person to cure cancer, wouldn't you have to do that?
Well,
I already work around the clock.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Because you
I
made
already
a
work around the clock, Hugh Grant.
this is the best trilogy of all time. They should bundle those 3 movies in like a 3-pack.
Absolutely.
All right, well, that's going to do it for this week. Keep going to SinCast presented by Cinemasins on Facebook. We're also on Cinemasins Twitter, Music Video Sins Twitter. We're on SoundCloud. We're on Discord. If you want to get on Discord, go to our Facebook page and private message me, or go to our Reddit page and find the link on the right side there. And that's going to do it for this week. It's Chris Atkins and Jeremy Scott and Barrett Sher. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening. Comment on our episodes on our SoundCloud page. Check us out on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and Reddit. And be sure to visit cinemasins.com.
You are going to have to fucking stop doing that shit. I swear to God.
It's a Macarena, baby.
It's like on its own, it's not like something that's laugh out loud funny, but the fact that it's going on while I'm saying this shit, I always have to look down and just like the other way when I'm doing this.
You said it's time again. I thought it's like the locust broods where they go underground and then like 13 or 11 or however many the fuck years their brood is underground, then they come back. That
shit is confusing, man. When I was growing up, I remember, I think it was cicadas that were the first time I saw anything big like that. Like all, swarming around, and that was like in the 80s somewhere. And they're like, these won't be back until another 17 years. And then it's almost like lunar eclipses, how these things come up, or solar eclipses, because there's a one breed that's like every 17 years, and then there's like another breed that's this amount of years, and then there's another one that's this amount of years, but it only appears in this one region of the country. And then it's like this year, I think there's is it cicadas or locusts that are?
I think they're the same fucking thing. I think they're the same thing, honestly. But yeah, there was supposed to be one this year, but I haven't seen any.
There's something flying around here this summer that is like that, locusts or cicadas, because I hear them outside. There have been a couple that have shown up in my house. Of course, the cats are all like, killing it and shit when it comes in, but there is something flying around, but I can hear that. I can hear their like mating screams outside every afternoon. So
that's me and Candy.
Oh, it's you and Candy. Yeah, okay.
Nice. I love how this internet site. I love how they describe the difference. Locusts and cicadas are often confused. Locusts are a type of grasshopper, while cicadas are closer to crickets. And my brain immediately goes, crickets and grasshoppers aren't the same thing.
It's like crocodiles and alligators.
Yeah.
I remember growing up, whether they were locusts or cicadas, apparently they are different things. In Indiana, it wasn't broods. They were just a bug that was there every summer, and they weren't like massive in numbers, but you would see their dried out corpses on the trees, and you would hear that screechy noise at night, and that was about it. Then I moved down to super North Georgia, basically Chattanooga, right when it was like 98, right when one of the 17-year broods that has like 98 million of them or whatever came up, and it was like, it really was like biblical. A couple of days driving on the freeway, there were so many, they were thudding your windshield every few seconds.
Yeah.
was really, and then on the ground, it was hard to walk from your car to the gas station without
Crunching
stepping on them. Yeah, it's fucked up, man.
There was something that happened because I was in Hillsborough Village when the last big one happened. When was that? What was that? 2010, 2011, somewhere.
I think so.
Like every day walking out to the car, it was just tons of them. They'd be on your car. They were on the walk going out to your car and just all over the place. But yeah, right.
That's gross. Yeah. When I was in, I think it was first grade or so, we would go out for recess, and it was one of those big, huge locust or cicada invasions. And we would just like pluck the wings off of them like evil kid bastards and everything. And we were just like playing with them. Like there was just mounds of them. They're like tossing them up like fucking piles of leaves.
That's disgusting.
Yeah.
Also, I just found out 1998 was the first known time that a 17-year brood and a 13-year brood woke up at the same time.
Oh, wow.
So it was like a double brood of...
Double brood.
That's probably why I was hitting them with my windshield.
I wonder if they have like turf wars and shit.
Like the Jets and the Sharks?
Yeah.
Bill the Butcher has a weird accent in that movie. I have a weird relationship with that movie. I watch it all the time, but I hate it. Yeah.
You just hate
Cameron Diaz, who I'm going to talk about in this episode, bothers me in that movie. A lot about that movie bothers me.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of bothersome stuff. Her accent bothers me. Leo's kind of accent bothers me. His plan bothers me. The anachronistic music bothers me. Even Daniel Day. Now, Daniel Day doesn't bother me. He's awesome.
That was DiCaprio's first like real attempt at being like a hard fucking actor. Like, like before all
wispy
that,
goatee and everything.
before all that, he did some good dramas, but he was never like a guy would ever say was tough or did anything like that. And I had trouble with it when I first watched it. Yeah,
and I fucking hate the ending. The ending can lick my nether regions.
Okay.
All right.
You know what? Speaking of licking, I was watching a little bit of The Boys on Amazon. I've kind of got into that show. I shadowed the pilot for Cinemasins, and I was like, you know what? This is like one of those. It happened with True Detective too. The first season, I had never watched it before, but after I did that for Cinemasins, I was like, I got to watch the rest of the series. And so The Boys kind of intrigued me by the premise, mostly because of the Ryan Quaid kid, the kid from Dennis Quaid and Meg Ryan.
Yeah, oh yeah. He's the main guy
who looks so much like Bill Hader that it's absolutely insane. So he drew me in. Carl Urban is fantastic, but there's a scene like in halfway through the first season where the guy who's the fastest superhero in the world is making out with his girlfriend. She's like, "Do you want me to do that thing?" And he's like, "Yeah." And she goes down. And you think she's going to go down on him. She starts sucking on his toes.
Hold on a sec. I'll be right back.
Perfect time.
What the fuck is happening? Oh, was that his phone?
Yeah.
That music lines up good with toe sucking.
Yeah, no, she starts sucking his toes. And at first you're like, oh. But then you're like, it's kind of sexy.
Nah, not for me. It's not for me, bro.
You never done the toe suck?
We don't have to talk about this. But no. God.
You should try it.
No. Fuck
Why?
you.
What?
Fuck you.
What? There's
Fuck
nothing
you.
wrong with that. There's other things to suck on.
Don't tell me what.
So you finally watched Palm Springs?
Yes.
What'd you think?
I have a controversial opinion. I loved it. I want to spoil the twist for people.
Why? Well, hold on. The twist or the conceit? Is Chris?
Are we playing a game?
No. Like, because Chris was saying he didn't even want to let people know that it was about a loop thing. Are you saying you want to spoil that part, or you want to spoil the ending?
Not the ending.
Yeah. Okay, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I knew going in that it was a reset the day time loop movie. That's
Yeah.
all I knew.
Me too. That's all I knew too.
But
Yeah.
the first 10 minutes played gloriously to me, knowing that.
Yep.
Whereas if you don't know it, this is, Chris, I'm giving my controversial Palm Springs take. I loved the movie.
Yeah, very controversial.
I think it's better to know that there's a time loop before you watch it, because I can only imagine, because I didn't watch it without knowing, but I would imagine it's confusing until you realize, and then maybe on your second viewing, the first 10 minutes, you go, okay. But for me, I feel extra joyous the first 10 minutes to know that at least one of them was already stuck in a loop.
Yeah, me not knowing was great to kind of like fit when the reveal came up, because I had remembered enough about everything that was so weird about that first 10 minutes that I was like, just kind of like going back in my head about it and everything. So like, I was glad I didn't know going in.
That speech is hilarious, regardless if you know or you don't, because everybody's just like, how does he know that? Like, she's donating plasma or bone marrow or something like that. How the fuck does he know that? And he's making this eloquent speech and everything. He's like, why is he in a Hawaiian shirt?
While I was stepping away there, so did you like The Boys, Barrett?
I am really liking it so far.
I haven't seen the second season. I saw the first one, I don't know, last year. And I really liked it. Who's the one guy that is playing the Superman of the group?
Oh, Homelander, somebody Starr,
Anthony Starr is so good, man.
He really is. He really is.
That's just he's just awesome in it, and just I mean the decisions they're making are all sort of Watchmen level in a way, like because they're kind of like being protective of a brand, and it's it's sick. It's sick watching it, and I like that Erin Moriarty chick, man.
Who plays Starlight?
Yeah, she's pretty.
And Elizabeth Shue is fantastic.
Yeah. Love me. I'm always love me some Elizabeth Shue.
Dude, I mean, it's got great effects, I think. It's subverting the genre, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's good. Even Meg Ryan's Bill Hader isn't all the way good. And I'm only halfway through that first season, but man, it's just compelling. Like, for whatever, I don't even love it, but it's like it's watchable. It's so watchable, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna keep at it. There's very few TV Sins pilots that I get into. Like Westworld, I was like, maybe I should give this a shot.
Oh Jesus!
I'm just exhausted. I can't dedicate that much.
Yeah, there's
The
a lot.
Boys is very much like, get in there, get out, everything's cool.
I started randomly watching Cobra Kai a little bit.
Oh.
I was very much against it, especially when it was on YouTube, and that was their like flagship, like let's be a premium streaming service show and everything. But it's on Netflix, and I'm like, I'll watch one of these episodes and everything, and it's got some really funny moments in it, man.
Intentionally funny?
Yeah.
Really?
It's basically, I mean, Johnny Lawrence is still the same guy. He's just old now. So he's still a dickhead, but it's got this interesting dynamic because he's helping out a kid just like Daniel LaRusso in Karate Kid, and he's being his sensei, but he's being the dickhead sensei that his guy was. So like it's a different dynamic. And LaRusso's got his own car dealership, and he's got the beautiful wife, and he's got the kids, and he shows up everywhere that Johnny Lawrence shows up, he's kind of like annoying how good his life is and everything. Of course, we go and see, we actually see LaRusso's life and see that it's not as perfect. It's close to perfect, but it's not as perfect. He's got some of his own issues and everything. But there's a part in there where Johnny is teaching this new kid some moves and everything, and like and he's like, it's the very first day, and he body slams this kid like immediately, like has absolutely like no idea this is going to happen. He gets up and he pulls out the inhaler and he starts, he's like, and Johnny's like, what? Wait, what is this? What is this? He's like, I've got asthma, sir. He's like, not anymore. You don't. Not anymore. He's like, look,
Jesus.
like you need to stop. You need to stop talking about this asthma or peanut allergies or any of this made up shit, and you need to go on.
Jesus.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
Who are we rooting for here then?
the show so far is making you root for Johnny Lawrence, but he's still a dickhead.
Interesting.
And Daniel Russo is kind of the antagonist of the show, and there's all these weird, complex connections that are going through their lives at this point, where like, LaRusso's daughter is responsible for hitting Johnny's car early in the series, so there's that little connection. His daughter's about to date this guy who got in a fight with Johnny in a parking lot, and there's like all these different stories going back and forth. Like nobody knows the full story yet of everything that's going on, and I'm only 3 episodes in. But there's some moments where I've just sat there and I was like, oh my God, that caught me just right.
I did see one clip where the kid says something like, is there any particular way you want me to clean this glass, Sensei? And he goes, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
It's just like the anti-Miyagi.
He's very much so.
And that was the first thing I'd seen, honestly, that made me want to take a look. And now that you're saying some decent things about it, I might have to.
I thought it was going to be one of these wink, wink, and it kind of does have some wink, wink moments in it, but I think this is exactly like if you were to tell, I'm not a big fan of telling the story after the story and everything. Like, I'm not a big fan of that, like the El Camino and all that bullshit. And, but I don't know if you did it in a way that seems realistic, in a way where Johnny didn't learn any lessons. He's still a dickhead, but it's more complex than that. And Daniel Russo is still a goody, but he's got his own little peccadillos too. So
is his wife Elizabeth Shue or the girl from Okinawa?
It's neither. I think there's even the girl who plays is Courtney Hengler or whatever.
I was just making a joke that he had 2 different girlfriends in the first 2 movies.
Oh yeah. There was a point where
loved his little drum paddling.
Yeah.
There's a point where he's at a high school dance because he volunteers to chaperone because his daughter is dating this dude. And he wants to keep an eye out on her, classic sitcom-y trope type of thing. But one of the other chaperones is like, I can't believe that you broke up with her like after high school. And he goes, life happens, stuff. It's what happened. It would have been kind of silly if he was married to her, this many years later. But,
I did see a tweet and I looked it up that Ralph Macchio is like 5 or 6 years older than Pat Morita was when he was the sensei in Karate Kid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which is insane given how Ralph Macchio looks these days.
Well, I remember someone mentioning it when he turned Pat Morita's age and said, did you know that Ralph Macchio is that guy's age when Karate Kid came out? I'm like, holy shit.
He looks good for 58 or whatever he is now.
Yeah. But I haven't gotten through the whole series, and it's really just kind of like I'm up at night and just just randomly watching stuff. But I've watched 3 episodes, and so far I'm like, man, some of this stuff catches me just right. Just that, stop bringing up this asthma, peanut allergies, or any of this made up stuff.
No, you don't. Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Have either of you guys watched Class Action Park yet?
No,
Not
but
yet.
you made me wanna.
Talk about hitting you in the right way, man. Like I haven't laughed that hard since Middleditch and Schwartz. Like it was, that like uncontrollable where I can't get it under control type of thing.
Right.
That's how this got me, especially
Is it because they animated the
that's
incidents?
part of it. They also get the perfect people to give their memories about it. They were like, "Oh, we haven't even gotten to the most dangerous ride after they've gone through this like macabre, like here's what you got here," and then they go to. I can't even tell it. When you get really messed up, you go to the infirmary, and there's something that happens in the infirmary that I was just doubled over. I had to stop it, and it was just it's one of the funniest things I've ever seen. The funny thing about it, and I'll leave the name of the park out, but like half of the rides at this water park and action park in New Jersey were the same as a current water park in Florida that I just went to last year and grew up going to all my life. And they were like, "Man, this Tarzan jump is super dangerous." I was like, "There's one there." Mm-hmm. And like this slide is super dangerous. Although Action Park has one that's loop to loop.
Oh my God.
And so one of the guys is like, "I was the first employee to try it." And I was like, "Whoa, this is going really fast." And then like it shows an animation of him like going halfway up and slamming down on the thing and then slamming over to the other thing and shooting out with his mouth full of blood. Jesus. He was like, "Well, I made it." But there's still like super dangerous stuff that I almost drowned on last time I went to this water park. And I'm not even joking about that. Like a river rapids ride like they used to have at Opryland, except it's one inner tube and everybody gets it. It's just a whole thing. So it made me extra laugh because I've been through some of that stuff. Mm-hmm. But it's one of the funniest movies I think I've seen in all year.
Man, I remember I kind of want to watch this just because I know that there's got to be all sorts of stuff that happens on these rides. They like.
Yeah.
I was at Six Flags, and I think it was what was it? Was it the Mindbender that was there? Can't remember what it was. The one at Six Flags over Georgia. But there's I think it was the Mindbender, where there was a loop, and we went through the loop, and right after the loop, my shoulder thing came up.
Oh shit.
And I don't know if it would have gone all the way up, but still any up is too much. And like, there was another loop. So I was like,
oh no,
I was like holding on to it while I went through that last one and everything. So,
oh my God.
Yeah. That's one of those where you're not really experiencing the ride anymore. You're just kind of like, just let me survive through this.
So it came up and you just hung on to it.
Just
during
tried
the
to
next
push it.
loop.
Tried to keep it down so that it wouldn't come all the way up and everything. So I was just like this the whole time.
It didn't move in the next loop?
No, it didn't.
Thank God.
Yeah,
Jesus.
Obviously, yeah, if it did, then that would be maybe not here today,
I don't fuck with roller coasters, man. Like, for whatever reason, like I'll go in the most dangerous water slide or whatever, or, I'll ride a motorcycle at top speed or whatever, but there's a weird thing where like you're in control of those things.
Yeah.
And with roller coasters, there's no control. You're just basically saying,
you're at the mercy of the 17-year-old kid who
exactly shit like that can happen to you. Yeah. And there's a 17-year-old kid. He's probably macking on a customer, like punching the buttons and stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can't fuck with that. I can't.
I love that Birbiglia story about going on a date and riding the carnival ride. It's the Mangler or whatever the fuck it's called, where it's the
Twister.
You're in a cup that's spinning, connected to two other cups that's spinning, all connected to another apparatus that's spinning, and basically throws up on his date. Anyway, that may be the special I saw that you guys didn't yet, but very funny.
So this Birbiglia binge is like holding you over until new Middleditch and Schwartz episodes.
So far, I mean, it's not generally stand-up comedy will get me to laugh, but it's not every day I find one that I really like that I want to keep going back to. And we've tried a few that haven't really fit the bill. So yeah, we're going to watch everything.
You should, I don't know if it's on Netflix or not, but you should really watch that Don't Think Twice movie that he directed.
And,
Oh yeah, I plan to watch the movies that he's in.
and Sleepwalk with Me.
Yeah, that one's he's in Sleepwalk with Me, right?
Yeah, I think he's
Yeah.
in both, wasn't it? Yeah. Sleepwalk with Me is the autobiographical thing that is more drama than anything, but it plays a lot like a stand-up special, and it's really interesting just watching this sort of like his rise to being a famous comic and having to deal with this this sleepwalking thing. Man, it's so insane. It's so insane.
The next movie he's making is called It's All Right. It's a sequel to Don't Think Twice.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
No.
Oh.
No, he's flipping me off. I thought for sure the music guy in the house would get that.
Yeah, it's all right. It's in the intro.
Fuck you, I'm looking for it. Okay, yeah, I see it.
I spent all this time writing these emails.
Fuck you, I read it.
I like this stuff. I like this stuff.
Yeah.
I was going to say, let's not start sucking each other's dicks.
Yeah. Well, that's good therapy, though, sometimes.
I like how often you create more work for yourself as an editor.
Yeah.
It is weird like that, right? By the way, I really appreciated this. Peter Sagal, the guy from Wait, Don't Tell Me, and your boy Chris from the Chernobyl podcast.
Mm-hmm.
He's very active on Twitter. He's a big NPR guy, and he said he's been trying to expand his podcast listening universe, and he was like, guys, edit your podcasts. Like some of the stuff I'm listening to, you think everybody needs to hear everything that you have to say. Trust me, they don't.
Yeah.
Edit your podcast.
Yeah.
And later on, I think I'm going to retweet that and be like, yes, please.
Well, the problem is you've got people like Joe Rogan, who has the most popular podcast in all the world, who does just 4 straight hours of unedited talking. And people look up to that and go, well, he doesn't edit. Why should I edit?
Yep.